Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol.
Hare
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Shami Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we completed on Sunday. You celebrated Gaur Purnima, isn't it? Did you celebrate Gaur Purnima?
Yes.
Yeah.
The appearance anniversary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also known as Gauranga. Gauranga. So on the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, it's advisable, and Srila Prabhupada recommended to chant many prayers for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya, in addition to the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But it's particularly the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but also there's so many prayers that have been written to glorify Lord Chaitanya by great acharyas in our line of disciplic succession, like who?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Prabhu?
Okay, you missed the question. There are many prayers that are written in glorification of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, written by great acharyas in our line of disciplic succession, like
Narottam Das Thakur.
what's that?
Vasu Ghosh.
Vasu Ghosh, yeah. Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Lochan Das Thakur. We sang one for Lochan Das Thakur. So, Srila Prabhupada sang many of these prayers, and that wasn't for his entertainment, but for Krishna's pleasure, but also to encourage us to learn them. You know, so like we chant, because Srila Prabhupada chanted Parama Karuna before speaking Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's why we do it. But, you know, we should learn those prayers. We should learn them. Those are, and during, especially at the time of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, there's so many prayers. Learn one prayer at least by heart. You keep it with you, then you have it in your back pocket anytime you can think. Because Srila Prabhupada said the prayers by Narottam Das Thakur and Bhakti Vinod Thakur as good as the Vedas, their Vedic Brahman. So that's a good thing to do. I don't know if in your temples you're able to chant some of these prayers, but you know, devotees have been in the movement for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's a good idea to not just be lazy, but to learn some of these prayers and by heart to keep them with you. Does that make sense? And especially on Lord Chaitanya's appearance day, they can be chanted along with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So I was going through some of the letters that Srila Prabhupada wrote to devotees and how to observe Gaur Purnima. And there's certain, ways that he recommended, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, fasting until moonrise, things like this. Only taking Ekadashi, prasadam like Ekadashi, things like that. But another thing he said in one letter to a devotee in Montreal named Janardan in 1968 or 69, I forget. But he said, there's a prayer you can chant also in Gaur Purnima. I wasn't there in Philadelphia or in Gaur Purnima, but you can chant this prayer in Gaur Purnima. I've never heard Srila Prabhupada chant it, but it's a famous prayer in Bengal especially. but he says there on Gorpanima you can chant this. So we're a little bit after Gorpanima, but I thought we would chant it. We can learn it today since I'm talking about this point. What do you think? It's very simple, very simple. And in the letter, Srila Prabhupada said this is said to have been sung by none other than Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Lord Nityananda. Okay? So the prayer goes like this. Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Laho Gauranga, Namre. Yeah, Bhaja Gauranga means worship with devotion, and devotion serve. Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya. Kaho Gauranga, chant Gauranga. Laho Gauranga. Take his name, Namre. Take his name. Bhaja Gauranga. I say, you say, okay? Bhaja Gauranga, Kahu Gauranga, Lahu Gauranga, Namre. You say it.
Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gauranga, Namre.
Laho Gauranga Namre.
Come on, we got to do better than that, folks. Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Lahu Gauranga, Namre.
Bhaja Gauranga,
Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Laho Gauranga
Namre.
Oh, I hear somebody singing the, yeah. It's often chanted in the same morning tune that we use. Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Lahu Gauranga, Namre.
Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Laho Gauranga
Namre.
Then the next line is J Jan. In Bengali, all Y's are J's, by the way. J Jan, Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re. J Jan, that person. J Jan, that person. Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re. They're my life and soul. Lord Nityananda. Okay, so let's do the second line. I'll say, you say. J Jan Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Jan Gauranga Bhaje,
Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
J Jan Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Jan
Gauranga Bhaje,
Shehoy Amar Pran
Re.
J Jan Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Jan
Gauranga Bhaje,
Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Hamara Pran Re.
Okay, so we'll do it a couple times. Simple prayer, simple prayer. In Bengal, they used to sing this every morning. You'll hear it on this in the radio in the morning time. Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Lahu Gauranga Namre. You say.
Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Laho Gauranga Namre.
Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Lahu Gauranga Namre.
Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Laho Gauranga Namre.
Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Jan Gauranga Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Jan Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Jan Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Laho Gauranga Namre.
Gauranga, Gauranga, Laho Gauranga Namre.
Jan Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Jan Gauranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amar Pran Re.
Very good, very good. So I'm not going to do the next two lines because they weren't mentioned in the letter. They could be there. I don't know if they were added later or they're part of this thing. But that's the Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Laho Gauranga, Gauranga Namre. Haribol. Okay. Okay. And there are many other prayers as well. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
We're reading in Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 17, text 311. So do we have a Bengali reciter today? Mother Muktidatri is there. Yeah, please. Could you recite the Bengali?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I can for some time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Text 311. লিখিত গ্রন্থের যদি করি অনুবাদ তবে সে গ্রন্থের অর্থ পাইয়ে আস্বাদ।
Translation: If I repeat what is already written, I may thus relish the purport of this scripture. This is Lao Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is going to reiterate basic points from the Adi Lila. And last time I asked you to think about parts of this Adi Lila that were important to you or that you remember specifically. So as we go on, I'll ask some of you to speak on those points if you like. Text 312.
দেখি গ্রন্থে ভাগবতে বেশেরও আচার কথা কহি অনুবাদ করে বারবার।
We can see in the scripture Srimad Bhagavatam the conduct of its author, Sri Vyasdev. After speaking the narration, he repeats it again and again. Purport. At the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 12th canto, the 12th chapter contains 43 verses in which Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasdev, Vedvyas recapitulates Srimad Bhagavatam's entire subject matter. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wants to follow in the footsteps of Sri Vyasadev by recapitulating the 17 chapters of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Gadamakyam Dadati Shapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Just before speaking, I'm asking permission and blessings from all devotees, and particularly those who are senior by age or advancement in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So what's this called? Krishnadas Kaviraj is recapitulating the topics of the Adi Lila, emulating Vedavyas in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. What's that called?
Summarizing?
Footsteps of great personalities.
Yes, that's the Parampara system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is summarizing, yes, but the Parampara system is the following in the footsteps and emulating the previous acharyas. So not only following the instruction, did Srila Vedavyas say, okay, anybody who writes something, you should recapitulate it at the end? Does he say, do we find that anywhere? No. But he did it. And so Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is following his examples or his footsteps. So it's not just the direct instruction, but he's taking his example and following in that example. Even though you'll see in the 12th canto, who's speaking in the 12th canto is Srila Sutta Goswami. Srila Sutta Goswami, Shukadev Goswami, and Vedvyas. So there's different layers, but ultimately the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is put together by Srila Vyasadeva, Krishna Dvaipayana Vedvyas. So he's here given credit for all that. Also the speaking of Sutta Goswami and Srila Shukadev Goswami, recapitulating. So one of the benefits of recapitulating is so that it's an aid in remembering, isn't it? Like when you speak something in a assembly and you want people to take home things, you'll say it in the beginning, some brief introduction about what you're going to say, then you'll say whatever it is, and then you'll recapitulate at the end, because that helps persons make it keep it within their minds and to make it useful. So that's here being done by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami for our benefit, so that we can remember these activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because if we can remember those activities and his teachings and activities, then we get free from material bondage, birth and death, old age, disease, and make progress back to home, back to Godhead. Text 313.
তাতে আদি লীলার করি পরিচ্ছেদ গণন প্রথম পরিচ্ছেদে কইনু মঙ্গলাচরণ
Therefore, I shall enumerate the chapters of the Adi Lila. In the first chapter, I offer obeisances to the spiritual master, for this is the beginning of auspicious writing. So he gives that translation of beginning of auspicious writing is a translation for the Bengali word here, Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan. So sometimes the Mangalacharan, we chant different Mangalacharans, but Mangalacharan means auspicious writing, and also in the beginning of the Caitanya Charitamrita, there's a Mangalacharan, and at the end of that Mangalacharan, where he gives respect to the spiritual masters, etc., he says that this chanting this Mangalacharan relieves you, frees you from all obstacles of your progress in spiritual life. So as we were traveling with the devotees with ISV, Vaisheshik Prabhu often, not every day, but almost every day, would chant the Mangalacharan from the beginning of Caitanya Charitamrita, which was very nice. So that beginning with Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Ishan Ishavatarakan Tat Prakasham Statak Shakti. You know this one. Yeah. So there's our Mangalacharan also, a special Mangalacharan for this work. Text 314.
দ্বিতীয় পরিচ্ছেদে চৈতন্য তত্ত্ব নিরূপণ স্বয়ং ভগবান যেই ব্রজেন্দ্র নন্দন
The second chapter explains the truth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. Oh, by the way, just in case you didn't know, I'm going to ask you to remember some of these chapters, if you don't mind, after we get maybe halfway through or so. Okay, next.
তেহত চৈতন্য কৃষ্ণ সচিরানন্দন তৃতীয় পরিচ্ছেদে জন্মের সামান্য কারণ।
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, has now appeared as the son of Mother Shachi. The third chapter describes the general cause of his appearance. Text 316.
তহি মধ্যে প্রেমদান বিশেষ কারণ যুগ ধর্ম কৃষ্ণ নাম প্রেম প্রচারণ।
The third chapter specifically describes the distribution of love of Godhead. It also describes the religion of the age, which is simply to distribute the holy name of Lord Krishna and to propagate the process of loving him. Text 317.
চতুর্থে কহিল জন্মের মূল প্রয়োজন সমাধুর্য প্রেমানন্দ রস আস্বাদন।
The fourth chapter describes the main reason for his appearance, which is to taste the mellows of his own transcendental loving service and his own sweetness.
পঞ্চমে শ্রী নিত্যানন্দ তত্ত্ব নিরূপণ নিত্যানন্দ হইলা রাম রোহিণী নন্দন।
The fifth chapter describes the truth of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is none other than Balaram, the son of Rohini.
ষষ্ঠ পরিচ্ছেদে অদ্বৈত তত্ত্বের বিচার অদ্বৈত আচার্য মহাবিষ্ণু অবতার।
The sixth chapter considers the truth of Advaita Acharya. He is an incarnation of Mahavishnu.
সপ্তম পরিচ্ছেদে পঞ্চতত্ত্বের আখ্যান পঞ্চতত্ত্ব মিলি জইছে কইলা প্রেমদান।
The seventh chapter describes the Panchatattva, Sri Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, and Srivas. They all combine together to distribute love of Godhead everywhere.
অষ্টমে চৈতন্য লীলা বর্ণন কারণ এক কৃষ্ণ নামের মহামহিমা কথন।
The eighth chapter gives the reason for describing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. It also describes the greatness of Lord Krishna's holy name.
নবমেতে ভক্তি কল্প বৃক্ষের বর্ণন শ্রী চৈতন্য মালি কইলা বৃক্ষ আরোপণ।
The ninth chapter describes the desire tree of devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is the gardener who planted it. So we're going to take a break here, a little break. And, there were up to now, there's a total of 17 chapters in the Adi Lila. So we see here that the ninth chapter is the desire tree of devotional service of Sri Chaitanya. Can I get help to review the other 8 chapters, what they were about, if you don't mind? Any enthusiastic contributors here? Okay. Any of the other 8? Anyone? Nobody? Come on. I don't see any hands.
What is that? What you're looking for?
I want to see the what the topics of the first 8 chapters are that we just reviewed. This is
Oh, okay. I can try some.
yes, please.
You mean titles, right?
Yeah, and titles or topics. Yeah, yeah.
The first one is very important, and the spiritual masters. Isn't
And
it?
so Vande Guru Nish, yeah, and that's also called the Mangalacharan, right?
Yeah. And the title itself is the second one is external reasons of Lord
No,
Chaitanya.
no, you got it wrong.
No,
No. What's the second chapter? Second chapter. Who knows? You're one off, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
I can, I can check it.
Yeah, go ahead, check if you like. You
Yeah.
want to check? The second chapter is
Second chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
very good, exactly. Good. Kaivalya Prabhu came through. Good. Yeah. So the second chapter describes how Lord Chaitanya is none other than the son of Maharaj Nanda, Sri Krishna, Rajendra Kumar. Yeah. And then the third chapter, back to the third chapter is
External reasons of appearance of Lord
yes,
Chaitanya.
those are the external reasons. Then the fourth chapter is
Internal reasons of Lord Chaitanya's appearance.
internal. Are you going to
Confidence
answer all
reasons.
these questions? Are you going to answer all this, Krishna Kirtana? Do we have any other contributors here, or everybody else is at work or silent or something? What about the fifth chapter?
Glories of Lord Nityananda Prabhu.
There you go, Nityananda Prabhu. And sixth chapter,
Glories of Advaita.
Advaita
Advaita Acharya. Yeah, Advaita Acharya. Seventh chapter.
Panchtattva.
Yeah, and not mentioned specifically in this summary is that seventh chapter is also the chapter where Lord Chaitanya, meets the Mayavadi sannyasis at Benares, and there's a description of the Panchatattva distributing a love of God. And then the eighth chapter,
Chaitanya pastimes.
yeah, the reason for for speaking about Lord Chaitanya and his pastimes and the glories of the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Those
Hare Krishna Maha
points
Mantra.
were in the eighth chapter. Yeah, so just to recapitulate, Krishna Kirtan, can you recapitulate?
Yes, sure. The first one is again all of them.
Yes, all yes.
I'll try. The first one is
Mangalacharan.
Mangalacharan, which is basically the spiritual masters. Second one is establishing the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Third is his external reasons of appearance in this world. Fourth is his internal confidential reasons of his appearance in this world. And fifth is glorification of Lord Nityananda. And sixth is the glorification of
Nityananda.
Acharya. And seventh is the Panchatattva, the five Lord Chaitanya and his five personalities.
Yes.
And eighth is just now. What is that?
Pastimes.
The reason
Krishna.
we're talking about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and the glories of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And here the ninth chapter describes the desire tree of devotional service. Okay.
Yes,
Sri Chaitanya Maha himself. Okay. So we're trying to get these down. Okay. Text 323. Are you still there, Mother Muktidatri?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
দশমেতে মূল স্কন্দের শাখাদি গণন সর্বশাখা গণের জইছে ফল বিতরণ.
I really appreciate your chanting. That's very nicely done, the Bengali. Yeah. The 10th chapter describes the branches and sub-branches of the main trunk and the distribution of their fruits.
একাদশে নিত্যানন্দ শাখা বিবরণ, দ্বাদশে অদ্বৈত স্কন্দ শাখার বর্ণন।
The 11th chapter describes the branch called Sri Nityananda Prabhu. The 12th chapter describes the branch called Sri Advaita Prabhu.
ত্রয়োদশে মহাপ্রভুর জন্ম বিবরণ, কৃষ্ণ নাম সহজইছে প্রভুর জনম।
The 13th chapter describes the birth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which took place with the chanting of the holy name of Krishna.
চতুর্দশে বাল্যলীলার কিছু বিবরণ, পঞ্চদশে পৌগণ্ডলীলার সংক্ষেপে কথন।
The 14th chapter gives some description of the Lord's childhood pastimes. The 15th chapter briefly describes the Lord's boyhood pastimes. See, here we have in the Bengali, the 15th chapter is Pauganda Lila. You know, Pauganda, you know what Pauganda Lila is?
Up to 11 years?
Is that?
8 to
Pauganda
11.
Lila. Yeah, 6 to 11. Pauganda. Then 327.
ষোড়শ পরিচ্ছেদে কিশোর লীলার উদ্দেশ, সপ্তদেশে যৌবন লীলা কহিল বিশেষ।
The 16th chapter, in the 16th chapter, I have indicated the pastimes of the Kaishor age, the age prior to youth. In the 17th chapter, I have specifically described his youthful pastimes. And that's Jovan, Jovan Lila. Yeah.
এই সপ্তদশ প্রকার আদি লীলার প্রবন্ধ, দ্বাদশ প্রবন্ধ তাতে গ্রন্থ মুখবন্ধ।
Thus, there are 17 varieties of subjects in this in the first canto, which is known as Adi Lila. 12 of those constitute the preface of this scripture. So Adi Lila here is also mentioned as the first canto. Isn't that interesting? Canto. And 12 chapters are described as the preface. Usually you have a book and the preface is usually not very long, and it's usually just one, right? Just one part, or maybe you could call it a chapter. But here, 12 chapters are the preface. 329.
পঞ্চপ্রবন্ধে পঞ্চরসের চরিত, সংক্ষেপে কহিলু অতি না কইল বিস্তৃত।
After the chapters of the preface, those first 12, I have described 5 transcendental mellows in 5 chapters. I have described them very briefly rather than expansively.
বৃন্দাবন দাস ইহা চৈতন্য মঙ্গলে, বিস্তারি বর্ণিলা নিত্যানন্দ আজ্ঞা বলে।
By the order and strength of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described in his Chaitanya Mangal all that I have not. Are you familiar with the Chaitanya Mangal?
Yeah, we
Caitanya
had
Bhagavad.
like Guru Maharaj read Chaitanya Mangal sometime.
Yeah, but this
Yeah.
Chaitanya Mangal is really the Chaitanya Bhagavat, because at the time he wrote it, the time Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote this, it was still named, Vrindavan Das Thakur's book was still named Chaitanya Mangal, but it changed later to Chaitanya Bhagavat. So this is the Chaitanya Bhagavat.
শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য লীলা অদ্ভুত অনন্ত ব্রহ্মা শিব শেষ যার নাহি পায় অন্ত।
The pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are wonderful and unlimited. Even personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Sheshanag cannot find their end.
যে যেই অংশ কহে শুনে সেই ধন্য অচিরে মিলিবে তারে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য।
Anyone who describes or hears any of this elaborate subject will very soon receive the causeless mercy of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this verse here, it says J Angsha. Anybody who a part of it who describes it, Kohe. So that's why I was for this, because of this verse, I was hoping that some of you might like to say a few words about describing these. When we get to the end of this chapter, we'll ask for those. Of course, you've heard, but also describe as text 333.
শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য অদ্বৈত নিত্যানন্দ শ্রীবাস গদাধর আদি যত ভক্তবৃন্দ।
Herein, the author again describes the Panchatattva. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivash and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya.
যত যত ভক্তগণ বৈশে বৃন্দাবনে নম্র হইয়া শিরে ধর সবার চরণে।
I offer my respectful obeisances to all the residents of Vrindavan. I wish to place their lotus feet on my head in great humbleness.
Is Mataji, it says Namra Haya or Namra Hana?
It's actually we say like নম্র হইয়া.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Writing is little different.
How do we pronounce this? Haya or Hana?
Yeah, হইয়া.
This is probably like Hoa. It means it's in this pronunciation like Namra Hoa.
Hoa. Okay, not Haya. Okay. But here it's written Hawa. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's different, the pronunciation from what the letters are sometimes, yeah. Just like Chaitanya. Yeah, they don't chant usually in Bengali, they don't usually say the Y. Text 335.
শ্রীস্বরূপ শ্রীরূপ শ্রী সনাতন শ্রী রঘুদাস আর শ্রীজীব চরণ ধীরে ধরি বন্দ নিত্য কর আস শ্রী চৈতন্য চরিতামৃত কহে কৃষ্ণদাস।
I wish to place the lotus feet of the Goswamis on my head. Their names are Sri Sarup Damodar, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, and Sri Jiva Goswami. Placing their lotus feet on my head, always hoping to serve them, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 17th chapter, describing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his youth and of Adi Leela. Haribol, Haribol. This is very nice. Yeah. So I have a question for you here, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is asking to place the lotus feet of the Goswamis on his head. Sarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami. What about Gopal Bhatta Goswami? Why not? Did he leave him out? He forgot him?
Mhm. Gopal Bhatta comes later to Vrindavan,
Is that right? You think so?
isn't it?
Any other views?
And uh, well, another thing is he's just junior as well.
Yes.
And
It's not described specifically here, but elsewhere, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is writing about Gopal Bhatta Goswami, it's true that he came later, along with Jiva Goswami, that also came later. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami was the son of Venkata Bhatta. When Lord Chaitanya traveled to South India, he stayed at the nearby the temple of Ranga Kshetra at the house of Venkata Bhatta, who was a pujari at the Ranganath temple. And his son at that time was 10 or 11 years old. He that was became Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But when it's described here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was planning to write on the order of Lord Nityananda, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he approached all the Goswamis, including Gopal Bhatta Goswami, to get permission to write. And so he approached Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So he was there. And you know what Gopal Bhatta Goswami said? He said, very nice. Yes, please do. Please write. Please write. But don't include my name. Therefore, we don't see it here in this first chapter. Some little places you'll find, but generally he's not elaborately given any place. I don't know why Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. I don't know why. But he's also not included here, perhaps for the same reason, but I don't have any evidence of that. Okay, so that we finished the Adi Lila. Now, if anybody would like to say something or remember any parts of the Adi Lila of Lord Chaitanya's, about Lord Chaitanya's being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, about the obeisances to the spiritual master, about his internal or external reasons, about his the importance of all that, anything. Please say a few words. Is that Mother Shobharade opening?
Yes, it is, Prabhu, and I shouldn't be the first one to go, not advanced in age or in advancement, but I have to leave for work. So if I
Okay,
could,
you'll get permission from us then.
thank you. One of the realizations that has stuck with me with this chapter is when we were discussing how to pay obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Before this, I used to touch his feet and then pay my obeisances. I remind myself now not to do that, that we should always ask for permission before we touch devotees' feet, and especially his feet. And the other one, my Guru Maharaj is always talking about humility and not being offensive to devotees. So I think in the 7th chapter, when he was meeting the sannyasis, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat where they washed their feet, and in that purport again there was a mention of the importance of humility and not criticizing and being respectful to everybody. That's something that I am trying my best. It's hard, but I'm trying my best.
Isn't it hard? Yes, it is hard.
It is very hard. It is so much to just open your mouth and criticize. But that's something, especially that's an instruction from my guru. So that's something that sort of made an impression on me with that purport. So that's it, Prabhu.
Well, thank you. Yes, humility is a hard one for us people in the material world and who have been conditioned for lifetimes. I can tell you I was speaking with your Guru Maharaj, Vaisheshik Prabhu, and and there was some other devotee there, I don't remember, but I was talking about how in the just before Srila Prabhupada left, he asked that all of his devotees come there to Vrindavan. Anybody who could come, they could come. So I was planning to go, but then another instruction came from associate, the GBC people there saying, no, don't come. Prabhupada wants you to stay. But actually, that wasn't true. That wasn't true. And I read in a book, there's a book by Harisari Prabhu, who was there at the time. At least not the whole time, but briefly he was there, going back and forth. And he describes in that book about how the GBC consulted about that idea, and even though Prabhupada said to invite devotees to come to Vrindavan before his passing, they discussed and they said, well, if everybody comes, what will they do? What service will they do? I don't know. What will they? How will we be able to take care of them? Better tell them not to come. So that's what he said. And so that was how it. I didn't know how the instruction was given. I always felt bad about that though, because I thought I was planning. I actually had a ticket ready to go, and then they said, no, don't go. So I was feeling, but I was critical in that way, and I was speaking that way. And Vaisheshik Prabhu said, he didn't like my critical attitude. He said they were doing the best they could. That's what he said. And I appreciated that. I appreciated that. Even though I still felt bad, they didn't have necessarily any evil motive. They were just doing, as he said, they were doing the best they could. So that stuck with me. It was very nice. I appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. I think that is also very important, is to look within. When I'm not always making the right choices, but to be able to acknowledge when I have made the wrong decision or the wrong choice. That is also very important. Very difficult again, because we always think we are doing. I would not knowingly make a wrong choice.
Yes.
If I think something is wrong, of course, I'm not going to do. But later on, at least if I feel what I have done is wrong, to be able to acknowledge that, to be able to go back and apologize. And
Those
that's definitely, yes.
Those are
Thank
tough
you,
things.
Prabhu.
Yes. Other devotees who could say a few words, even a few words about some of the content of the Adi Lila before we move on to the Madhya Lila. This is your opportunity to get the causeless mercy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in a different way. Yeah.
I would like to share.
Yes, please, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, or also known as Krishna Village.
First of all, congratulations everybody for this milestone. That's really wonderful, and that we came, because Chaitanya Charitamrita is very, very essential for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. That's one thing. I really congratulate everybody, and thank you for leading this. And the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita itself, our Acharya, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, offers prayers of blessing, 6 blessings, and offers prayers to spiritual masters, Vande Gurun.
Yes.
I felt it's very essential for our growth to understand that it's not Guru, it's Guru and spiritual masters who actually help us to grow our spiritual life. And understanding that will help us to understand Charitamrita. That's my brief comment on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, that's the beginning, that first chapter, Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes.
Prabhu, I
Yes.
want to say something about the internal region we just discussed on the Purnima day, but I just want to again repeat it. The first one is to actually understand the greatness of Radharani, how great she is, because he knows that the Radharani's love is so much for him, so he want to experience that. And second is to test his own sweetness, because nobody can test his own sweetness, because you have to be on other end, So the Krishna is saying my sweetness is very wonderful. Only Radha is testing that test. I also want actually to test my own sweetness, That's why he became Radharani, and to understand that thing. And third thing is to test Radharani's happiness. So because Radharani is always happy, so he wants to experience that happiness. That what is the feeling actually of Radharani? So these are the three main reasons for Krishna, internal reasons for his appearance.
We're taking the mood and color of Srimati Radharani. Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Prananath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. First of all, thank you so much for inspiring me to read and hear this Chaitanya Charitamrita. Personally, I take a lot of instructions and lessons from all the wonderful pastimes that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has exhibited here, that we read so many of the pastimes, but most importantly that, how he changed the hearts of so many people, so many non-devotees. And of course, the Lord is very caring and protective to his devotees, but and then he can be very angry and retributive to non-devotees or miscreants. But at the same time, if they are genuinely repenting, then the Lord becomes equally very kind and caring. And the one particular pastime that really is very instructive to me is that Gopal Chapala and Srivas Thakur's, that pastime where of the nocturnal kirtans that were happening at the home. So, I don't want to elaborate on the pastime, but
Yeah, you can
I
elaborate
found
a little. What was particularly instructive about that pastime?
one is not to be envious. How Gopal Chapala became envious of Srivas Thakur. And that led, to him. The Lord was not happy about it. The Lord was very, very, angry at Gopal Chapala. And then we could see that in a few days he contracted leprosy. And then the Lord, but then when he was asking him to, and most importantly, Srivas Thakur didn't take any offense.
Yeah, that was
when-
really, really something. So Srivas Thakur didn't make it. It wasn't a big deal to him. He just
Yeah.
laughed it off.
Yes.
He laughed it off. So he didn't get offended at all, or even a little bit, maybe slightly, but nothing. Everybody just laughed. But then because of the mentality of Gopal Chapal, he had that he had to suffer. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, Prabhu, thank you. That part of he just, hey, look, I am worshiping. On the contrary, he was, happy.
Yeah.
So that was very, very instructive to me personally, and so many other pastimes where the Lord transformed the hearts of so many people, including Chand Kazi, so many other people. So that particular pastime of Srivas Thakur and Gopal Chapala really struck me.
Thank you. Brajesh Govinda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you, Dhanavad Pranam. And as far as I remember, is like whatever the Prananath Prabhu said, is that the situation when the Srivas Thakur, the wife, the Malini Devi, established the Mahaprabhu is the supreme personality of Godhead, when his son is died, and yeah, this especially encouraged me too much, and I love it because God is supreme power. Some people doesn't believe it. That's why when the Malini Devi tried to this kind of special lila, really, the Srivas Thakur and his wife is very pure devotee, and Sri Chaitanya associates, but they already know it, but they just try to establish the others people to believe it, that Mahaprabhu is the supreme personality of God. That's why I like it. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
And a very interesting point about that is, you know, you were talking about Srivas Thakur's son passing away during the kirtan at his house where Lord Chaitanya was there. So Srivas Thakur didn't want to interrupt Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy. So interestingly, later when Lord Chaitanya was in Puri, there was Sankirtan going on when they did the cleansing of the Gundicha Marjana.
Yeah.
And Advaitacharya's son Gopal then fainted, and the people thought he died. And at that time, you know what they did? Everybody got together and chanted the Shringa mantras. So there was, so Lord Chaitanya was also there during that time. But so they did it. Things happened differently at that time. It was very interesting. Very interesting. So one way this way, one way that way. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Others who would like to say something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for this very inspiring class and summarizing everything and reading this class. We learned a lot from you. And I just want to say, like in brief, two things only. When he was born, it was lunar eclipse, and Lord Chaitanya was born, and everyone chanting Hari, Hari, Hari. I always remember that. And second example is about his childhood pastime. When Brahmana came to Lord Chaitanya's house and he prepared food, and when he was meditating to offer food to Krishna, and then Lord Chaitanya came and ate his food, and then he prepared again. Lord Chaitanya came and ate his food without before offering. Third time he got angry, then Lord Chaitanya became very merciful, and I think he appeared before him, and
Yes.
so it shows kindness about his Lord Chaitanya's mercy on his devotees. So I remember that, and there are other things, but I just want to say these two things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Very bold.
Very bold.
Anyone
Hare
else
Krishna,
like this?
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just remember that first time, like, you know, when Chatkaji like betrayed the Harinam Sankirtan, and then Lord appeared as Nishingadev, and some mark on his chest was there, right? So I remember that.
Yes. There's a whole thing. I told some of you, I think, that there's a kind of an attack on Chankazi written by a Muslim scholar in California. Anyway, but Chankazi became a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his house is there. His place, you know, it's on Simanta Dweep, which is about a kilometer, maybe a little more than a kilometer northeast of the Yoga Pit. Simanta Dweep, and then on Simanta Dweep there's a town called Vamanapukur. That's where the house is. But it's not that place of Chankazi Samadhi is not being taken care of very nicely. It's you know, there's a tree there and people come, but there's a lot of monkeys, and it's not clean. It's kind of dirty, messy. It would be nice if the devotees, ISKCON or some group of devotees could improve that place. It's not very nicely kept right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Anyone else would like to say a few words? No? Okay. Thank you all very much. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Please, guys, Vishnugada Prabhu ki jai.
Krishna.
Thank you very much.